Simple question, simple answer. Circumcision, yes or no?
Definitely yes.
Why is that?
The evidence is very strongly in favour, and that's now supported by the American Academy of Paediatrics in their new policy statement and the Circumcision Foundation of Australia's policy statement. The issues are very similar to vaccination, minor risks but enormous benefits. And really, for parents, it's a no-brainer these days.
Except the Academy in America that you speak of doesn't say that every newborn baby boy should be circumcised. In fact, they say it's unnecessary to do that.
They say it's a parent's decision. It's a parent's decision. And the same applies to vaccination. That's why I say the issues are similar. There are people who choose not to vaccinate their children. That's their choice. But others in the medical profession who have examined the evidence have found that it is overwhelmingly in favour, and the Academy supports that. It's the right of parents, though, to make the decision.
But you have to admit that they don't say it's necessary for every newborn baby boy to be circumcised.
The Academy are non-prescriptive, which is appropriate. They acknowledge that there are certain families for whom their culture dictates that the boy not be circumcised, and all they present is the medical evidence. Now, what they didn't do, and which the Circumcision Foundation of Australia did do in their published policy statement earlier this year, is conduct a risk-benefit analysis. If one actually looks up the degree of benefit versus the risks, the benefits exceed the risks by well over 100 to 1. And then, considering that the risks of a circumcision are very rare and minor, easily treatable, with no adverse long-term consequences, versus the risks of not circumcising, that is, all of the conditions that can occur over the lifetime, including genital cancers and cervical cancer in the female partners, HIV, which is rare, fortunately, at present, but we can't guarantee that in the future in Australia, then it's really massively more than 100 to 1 in favour.
There are about 1 billion men in this world who are circumcised. From what you've just said then, there are a whole lot more who are in a dire situation.
It's absolutely true. And indeed, in places like South America, in South America, penile cancer is rife. It's a huge cause of mortality. And other countries in the world where circumcision is low, high rates of penile cancer, which affect 1 in 900 uncircumcised men over their lifetime, as stated in the American Academy's policy statement, and we state as well in ours.
What is the real risk, not the overstated risk, of men dying because they're not circumcised?
There, as I said, 1 in 900 cases of penile cancer. There's now evidence of, and it's been accumulating over the years, for a risk of prostate cancer as well, but not as big as in terms of the degree of risk as penile cancer. But prostate cancer is very common, so the number of men that could benefit by protection against prostate cancer is much larger. So that's that, and cervical cancer in the female partners, which is 10 times higher than penile cancer.
Do you accept that there are other protections instead of a medical procedure, that you can use other things to protect yourself?
Yes, indeed. It's not an either-or thing. It's part of a package. Condoms can be used to prevent some sexually transmitted infections, not HPV, very weak against HPV, but has 80% protective effect against HIV. And if you look at the fact that circumcision provides 75% protection against HIV, either alone or equivalent, but together, used together, then the protection is synergistic. And that applies to a lot of other conditions too, in terms of infectious sexually transmitted infections.
Are you so pro-circumcision because you have been circumcised that in some way you don't feel normal?
That's absolutely not true.
You don't feel abnormal?
No way. I mean, this is just crazy stuff. This is a classic example of speculation, navel-gazing, coming up with spurious statements that have no basis in fact. I'm a scientist. I'm trained scientifically. I look at the evidence. I've published over 50 articles, chapters in books and other publications on the topic of circumcision. I really am a world expert, and I have the biggest review in the world that's on the internet at circinfo.net that people can read. And if anyone doesn't believe me, just do a PubMed search on the internet and look at all the papers that come up with circumcision. And it's quite astounding. The evidence is now overwhelmingly in favour. Barack Obama, some people say he's not circumcised, but he's come out strongly in favour of circumcision, particularly in relation to the reduction of HIV in countries like Africa, where the President's fund is in fact helping in the rollout of circumcision across Africa to save millions of lives and billions of dollars.
Why not wait? Why not let parents let their children make the choice?
There are very good reasons why infancy is the best time. Not only is it simple, quick, easy, convenient and so forth, with low risk and low cost. Once one leaves the period of infancy, and even then the optimum time is in the neonatal period, that is the first month of life. Once you leave it till later, the barriers start rising. We see the fact that not only do the costs go up, so who's going to pay? And many people can't pay, and certainly if it's an adolescent boy or a man who's not earning a huge income, how can he afford it? He's got to make the decision, go through the psychological trauma of saying yes, no, yes, no. He's got to suffer the consequences. He's got to suffer the risk that he may have already damaged his kidney because his parents didn't have him circumcised as a baby. The suffering that has happened through type 4 skin, inflammation and other conditions that have led to him wanting to make the decision, but then facing the barriers. Has to take time off school, time off work. When can he find time to get it done? The healing period is longer, the operation is much more involved. Certainly it's still a simple procedure, but a lot more involved, needs stitches, etc., as opposed to a very simple, quick, convenient, quick healing and all the rest in infancy. And it's done, you don't leave vaccination until a person can make up their own mind. It's crazy stuff. You start educating children once they decide that they want to be educated. I've got kids, I know all these sort of issues. Parents have got the responsibility to ensure what's best for their children, best for their children's health, best for everything in their children's lives. Some parents don't, and that's when the law should step in. But in the case of circumcision and vaccination, they're both good things that sensible, intelligent, informed parents will always decide in favour of their kids unless there's some extraneous reason that's preventing it.